favorite, best case you've ever worked?
I would say the best case that we ever worked was when I was in Chicago, and we were part of the firearms trafficking group there, and guns were coming in, and we had, the U.S. attorney was all about prosecuting individuals there. Well, we had several individuals that were down in Alabama, and never stepped foot into Illinois. Their boyfriends or cousins would go down, they'd buy the guns for them. We actually had them where they FedExed 4 handguns up to these guys in Chicago. Uh, but what really resonates with me about that is that we had such a very powerful U.S. attorney that was willing to go after these. It was the first time ever in the district that we prosecuted people in that district that never stepped foot in the district. But we were able to show that they knew that they were buying these guns to go up to Chicago. And I think it was like 28 people that we ended up getting cases with. And of those, I think three or four were in the Chicago area, and the rest were out of the state. And a lot of them never even stepped foot in the state. But we were able to show, venue and how a lot of these guns, we had one case, she bought an AK-47, and 2 days later, the gang used it on a drive-by shooting in Chicago. And as you know, it happens all the time, 12-year-old girl sitting on the porch of her grandma's house gets shot 3 times by the AK because they got the wrong house. The bad guys drove up on it, lit it up, and killed her. It was just horrendous. And being able to work with the PD to get the shooter, but then also, a lot of times the case ends there. No, we got the shooter. Okay, here, they're going to trial. Okay, who gave them that gun? If they didn't get that gun, that person is culpable in that murder. And we were able to work with them and identify the lady that bought that gun for him and get her prosecuted as well. So that really resonates to me because that gave justice for that little girl.
Amazing, dude. That's badass. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the type of stuff that, it keeps you going as a cop. I don't care how burned out you get. You get that one case and you feel like you started your career over again. You feel like a fresh face. So I totally respect that, and that's a good one. Okay, Shawn, now you got to one up him, man.
Well, this is probably my best case and my worst case all wrapped into one.
Okay.
Basically, it was a undercover deal. I got an informant. A guy wanted to buy a bunch of Glock pistols. He wanted to buy 14 Glock pistols. So I made the arrangement, got the arrangement, had it set up. I had a car. It turned out to be a Buick Grand National. It was parked in the parking lot. It was one way in, one way out. So we, tactically, it was a good way to set it up. We had 2 blocking units. We're going to block them in once the deal went down. Long story short is the guy said he'd be back at 9 o'clock. So we're waiting there. We see a guy hop the wall, slide down. He goes over, breaks into the UC car, and within about 15, 20 seconds, got the car started. And they go, "Did you leave the keys in the car?" And I went, "No, they're in my pocket." I pulled them out. I said, "I've got the keys." So the guy was stealing the car. What the bad guy did is he went and got a car thief to come over and steal this car. Well, now he's in a Buick Grand National, one of the fastest street cars out there. Should have disconnected the battery. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of money morning quarterback afterwards, but should have disconnected the battery. Would have been one thing. I had 2 blocking units come in. Well, there was a civilian leaving at the time. Typical Murphy's Law, leaving. Another car, our first blocking unit got delayed a little bit, so he took a little time getting in front of it. He hits the first blocking unit, bounces off it, and starts heading up the street. We had a guy named Ross Aarons driving a 5.0 Mustang. They hit head on. And then the Buick National proceeds just to push it out of the way. Well, that Mustang was probably about the fastest car that probably could have kept up with it, but now it's just totally disabled. Now I'm on foot at this time, running next to the car, thinking about dumping the driver because he just hit one of our agents. Too many people in the background. It's like, can't do it. Long story short, he takes off down the street. The other unit that was supposed to be blocking that got hit first was in pursuit, right out of the movies. I mean, ramming them in the side, knocking into oncoming traffic. They spin out. I lose the car. We lose the car. We find it 7 minutes later, and the guns are gone. So now I'm thinking this is now the worst case of my life. I'm thinking I'm going to be, transferred to Detroit is what I actually thought. No offense, Don, but I thought I was going to be transferred to Detroit. So, I ended up, getting back to the informant. We found out, the main suspect, got him arrested. We ended up finding the guy that ended up getting the stealing the car. We got the guns back. We wrote like 5 search warrants in like 3 days to get these guns back because we found out where they were going. The good thing is that I took all the firing pins out of the firearms, so that they couldn't be used. But the one way we found out about it is they called the gun dealer and said, "Hey, you got any firing pins for a Glock 17?" So it's like, okay, there's a clue. They don't really break that often. So ended up getting that search warrant, got everybody arrested. Took a week to get everybody in custody, get the guns back. But it's one of my best cases because I got a bunch of knuckleheads off the street, but it's also one of my worst cases because everything went to hell in a handbasket quick. So, and then had a lot of people talking about, well, you should have put a big, RV or a big rental truck in front of it. But yeah, well, where were you 3 days ago? It's kind of like, thanks a lot.